So like I mentioned, we are going to go over the number one skill that agents don't do well enough and how to do it like a pro. By the way, guys, I'm just curious. Do me a favor, throw in the chat what you think this is, okay? I'd be very, very curious to see what you think it is. So Laura, so Greg, Rosa, John, all you guys, Terrence, let me know what you think it is, right? Brian, nice to hop on from here. We got Mel Robles, awesome guys. We got getting a full house today. So do me a favor, guys. We're going to go over the number one skill that agents don't do well enough and how to fix it to do it like a pro. Tell me what you think it is, okay? Because I'd be very, very curious. Okay, Rosa says prospecting. Greg says follow-up. Who else we got? Who we got? I know the Facebook folks are a little bit delayed because of the latency. There's about a 10 or 20-second delay. So, guys, what we're going to do, first of all, like I mentioned, we're going to talk about your habits, okay? Because habits are a neutral thing, right? Habits can be good. Habits can be bad, right? If you really think about it, you as a person are nothing more than a collection of your habits. Where you live, where you work, where you go out to eat, what time you wake up in the day, what kind of parent you are, what kind of husband or wife you are. All these things are just a collection of your habits, and you can change your habits at any given time. Think about this. Our thoughts become our words become our actions become our habits, okay? And then our habits determine ultimately whether you're a success or you're not. Very simple, right? If you took like an Olympian, right? And you took them and you put them in some other environment, I guarantee you that person is going to win. Why? Because they have ingrained, in order to get to the elite levels on, let's say, a sporting cause, they're going to have an amazing work ethic that they can apply anywhere else. Why? Because they have good habits. So think about this, guys. If you're trying to grow or achieve anything, right? What you're trying to do is change your current habits. Think about it. To get from where you are to where you want to be, right? If you were already doing the things necessary for you to get to where you want to be, if you had all the habits already in place, you'd already be there. You with me? Makes sense, right? Like if you're already, earning the type of money you wanted to, you'd already have the habits in place to earn the type of money you want. Okay. What I tell people like this, and in fact, this is a really good exercise. We do this quite often, right? And it helps drive home a point. Okay. Everybody do me a favor and tell me, and some of you, if you want to, throw it in the chat. Tell me what you want to make over the next 12 months. Okay. This is going to be an eye opener for you guys before we get started, right? So just do me a favor, write down what you want to write, your personal goal, right? You don't have to share it with everybody. If you want to, if you're brave, you want to throw it in the chat, that's cool, right? What you want to earn in the next 12 months, okay? Then tell me, or tell yourself, whatever, write it down on a piece of paper. Tell me what you earned last year. Okay, whatever you earned in all of 2021, right? So step one, tell me what your goal for next year is, for the next 12 months is. Step two, tell me what, or write down what your actual earnings were for 2021, and then take what you want to earn and subtract out what you did earn. Okay, so what you want to earn next year versus what you earned last year. Subtract what you earned last year from what you want to learn this year, and that is your gap. Okay, so awesome. Brian says 150K. Terrence says 150K. Exactly, guys. What that represents, guys, is the gap. So if the difference between what you want to earn and what you did earn, there's space there, okay? What that gap represents is what you paid life to not know the skills, okay? We call that your information deficit, right? That you didn't have the information and you didn't have the implementation, and most importantly, you didn't have the habits in place to earn the money you wanted to. Because if you knew how to do it, you'd already be doing it, right? If you wanted to earn $1 million a year and you knew how to do it, you'd already be doing it, right? Or if you knew how to do it but didn't have the habits to do it, you wouldn't be earning it. So again, that's the tax that you paid life every year. So if you wanted to earn 300 and you only earned 100, there's a gap of $200,000 a year. That's what it cost you last year to not know how to do it and not have the habits of how to do it. So if that isn't an eye opener, guys, I don't know what is. Okay. So this I want to drive a point home of why your habits are so important and why it's so important for you to develop good habits, and good habits will feed on good habits. Right. So let's get to the next page, right? So I want to talk to you guys a little bit about compounding. We talk about this all the time. Those of you that have ever been on a sales call with me know that I talk about what we talk about with our students, right? Super duper important. It's very important that you guys understand. If you get 2% better every week, okay? Can anyone tell me how much better you'll be in 52 weeks? Do me a favor, write that number in the chat, right? How much better will you be if you got 2% better every single week? Bet you can't guess. 2% better, 52 weeks a year. Guess how much better you'll be? All right. So if you guessed 274% better, you'd be right. If you guessed 104% better, you'd be wrong, because don't forget, compounding is when something gets bigger over time, right? Compounding refers to the ability of a sum of money to grow exponentially over time by the repeated addition of earnings to the total principal invested, right? And whether it's habits or what, every time you add something to it, like let's say you had compounding interest, right? You have $100 and then you earn a 10% interest, and then you add another 10% on. Well, it doesn't go from 100 to 110 to 120. It goes from 100 to 110 to 121, because you're adding $11 instead of $10, because you're doing 10% of 110. You see, you with me? So it's like a snowball, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, guys. Your habits are exactly that. Every time you get a little bit better at something, that expands, and you get a little bit better at something else, and that expands. And next thing you know, you start growing not linear, but exponentially, right? And I'll show you what that looks like, right, guys? So in this next slide, like I mentioned, habits can be positive or negative, right? You know, positive habits, good money habits, good savings habits are good habits. You'll have money forever so long as you make sure you spend the time to learn how to manage money and are disciplined enough to do so. Relationships, you know, being a good dad, being a good son, being a good wife, being, you know, a good friend. These are all relationships. We pay into them, and there is a compound effect of paying in and having a fulfilling life and fulfilling relationships. Knowledge, the same thing. You learn, if you continue to learn over and over and over again, guys, at a certain point, you learn enough. It's not just, I know about this, I know about this, I know about this, I know about this. You learn enough, guys, and you're able to start connecting dots from all different parts, and you become very, very knowledgeable. There's a compound effect of learning, okay? Negative, worrying. Has anybody ever here worried about anything, right? I mean, worrying never gets any better, and sometimes it just gets worse and worse and worse, right? Waiting. Has anyone here ever been like super impatient and wanted to just get something done with, and waiting and waiting and waiting, and that watch pot that never boiled, right? Riots are a perfect example. It's a little bit of unrest, and it builds and it builds and it builds until it blows off, and people are super duper emotionally driven, and they take to the streets, right? So good habits compound. So do bad habits. They compound as well. Very important to know. So I'm going to show you what that looks like, right? So linear, like I mentioned, see this dashed line here, that is linear growth, right? That's not compounding. That's just 1 + 1 is 2. 1 + 1 is 2. This is 1 + 1 equals 3. And what you notice is it keeps going up and up and up. When the effect of all your habits start adding up, they start stacking up way faster. We call that either compounding growth, we call it hockey stick growth. When it hits an inflection point, it really starts to take off. Look at this. Amazing. So what does this graph have anything to do with what we're talking about, right? We are talking about follow-up, guys. Follow-up, follow-up, follow-up. Anybody that's in any of my programs or that I have taught absolutely knows I am an absolute fanatic about follow-up. Why? Because follow-up, bar none, has put more money in my pocket than any skill I've ever learned, okay? Follow-up is partly a skill, but it's mostly a discipline, right? And if you force yourself to do it, you will be shocked at the results. As I mentioned before to a lot of people, in fact, one of my students was just on, we have a Voxer group, right? And he was just talking about, he went to go get a listing today, and they didn't give it to him. That's fine. I don't expect to get listings on the first try. If I do, it's great. Sometimes the people that give you a listing right there on the spot, they're not that serious about the process. I'd prefer to have the people that take 2 or 3 or 4 meetings to get the listing. You know why? Because you know they're serious and they've thought it over and they're more deliberate about it. But follow-up is the #1 thing you have to do to be successful in this business. Whoever coined the term, the fortune is in the follow-up, probably earned a lot of money from follow-up because it's dead. It's the God's honest truth. You know, it's very, very important to understand. Okay. Most people know they need to do it, but don't actually take the time to do it. Okay, guys, do me a favor, type a number in. How many of you, just type a 1 in there if you have a prospecting and follow-up routine in place that you do every single day, and type a 2 if you have one that you do every once in a while, and type a 3 in the chat if you don't have a process at all. So do me a favor and put those in this chat. Let's see what we're talking about here, guys. Let's see. Those of you on Facebook, don't fall asleep on me. Come on, guys. This has got to be interactive. The reason why I'm always asking you guys to interact, number one, I want to see where, you know, it's one of those things where I want to make sure that you guys are learning this stuff. And the more senses that you use whenever you are going in and interacting with information, the more likely you are to retain it. Okay, it's very, very important. You have to be able to understand that when you're using your eyes and your ears and your fingers and maybe you're writing it down, you are more likely to remember, retain, and most importantly, implement this information, right? Information is cheap. Implementation is difficult. Implementation is where the rubber meets the road, and implementation is where you make money. With me, guys? So Michael, hey, Michael, how are you? Nice to see you. Terrence said, just started follow-up. Love it, Terrence. Get going on that. That is awesome. That's a really, really good habit to start. It is never too late to start good habits, guys. In Yang says new, not applicable. Okay. iPhone 2 says 2. Greg says 2. Okay. Probably most people will fall in the bucket of, yeah, I know I need to do it. Yeah, I do it sometimes, but not, yes, I do it every single day and I follow up. I'm going to recommend a few things to you guys today that if you would just implement a couple of them, it is guaranteed, capital G, guaranteed to put more money in your pocket this year. Okay. Because in our business, right, when you start talking about, you know, we have people from New York and California and Florida and Atlanta and Idaho, all over the place, guys. No state in the country has less than $1 million average sale price. You with me, guys? You make one more deal because of one more follow-up or one more email or one more, you know, call that you made, guys. That could be an extra $30,000 in your pocket. Would anyone else like to earn another 30K this year from making another call or two? Anybody? Right? So Brian Harris, speaking of New York, said getting better at follow-up. 100%, Brian. Absolutely. And I've told Brian before, man, I'm envious because New York City, you know, you guys, or New York in general, the state of New York has an average sale price of $2.5 million. That means one average sale will net at 3%, it's going to average $75,000 to your pocket. It's a lot of ka-ching, right? You guys with me? So this is why this stuff is so powerful, guys. Even if you do this modestly, you'll be able to reap some major results by just, and Ed Milet, he's a guy that does coaching and he does like sales training and stuff like that. He talks about just one more. Just before you put your coat on at the end of the day, make one more dial. Before you go to leave, just make one more, send one more email. You'd be amazed at the compound effect of that, okay? So the number one thing you need to do is follow up, right? Because 90%, like I mentioned, of your results will come from it, okay? Because most people won't give you business the first time they see you. They need to know, like, and trust you. How do you get them to know, like, and trust you? By developing a very steady, persistent follow-up. I jokingly say, follow up with people once a week until either they do business with you or they file a restraining order. Totally kidding. I don't endorse getting restraining orders. However, you get the idea, right? You get the point. The point is you got to stay on them and stay on them and stay on them and stay on them. It's kind of like a siege, guys, because you remember like back in medieval times, what they do is they would circle around a city and they would just wait them out. They would just wait them out. That's what you want to do. You know why? You know why it's so effective? Because no other agents do it. No other agents are going to sit there and call and call and call and call. I want you all to have a PhD. Can anybody tell me what PhD stands for? Do me a favor, type it in the chat. Oh, Marjan, nice to see you. Hardin, nice to see you. What's going on? All right, so guys, type in the chat. Type in what you think PhD means, okay? It's not what you think it is. Type it in what you think. Joy, Laura, Rosa, go ahead, do me a favor. Type in PhD, what you think PhD means, because it has to do with your follow-up program. I promise you, you're going to learn something today. I promise, I promise. Okay. Anybody? Anybody? Bueller? Bueller? You guys falling asleep on me? Come on, guys. This is time to make money. Okay, Joy, that's fair. Okay. Now, doctor of follow-up. I like that. Follow up with a PH. Clever, Shy. What it is, guys, PhD stands for pig-headed determination. You have to want it so bad that you convince the other person to do business with you. You have to want it so bad that there's no other choice than to do business with you, because they know that because of the amount of follow-up that you do and the amount of determination that you have, they know that you're going to handle their property properly. Make sense, guys? What you're doing is in advance, you are showing them how you're going to treat their property. If you follow up like a maniac, guess what? You're going to be equally aggressive about listing their property and showing their property and getting it sold. Guys, what you do is you're auditioning. What most people don't realize is you are auditioning right then and there. Does it make sense, guys? You with me? So PhD, write that down, pig-headed determination, okay? You need to have it, you need to instill it, and if you don't have it, develop the habit of it. You guys with me? Cool, cool, cool. Okay, next up. So what we want to do is we want to build a daily habit, okay? Habits just don't happen on accident. They say it takes 21 days to build a habit. I believe that, you know, it takes 21 days to kind of develop new trends, but really, it's going to take a few months or like 90 days, I would say, to really ingrain it. 6 months till it just becomes part of you. A year till it becomes like part of your identity, guys. Some of the best times, right before COVID, I had an 800-day streak of going for following up and prospecting. Okay, guys, not Saturdays and Sundays, but Monday through Friday, I had an 800-day streak. Okay, I wound up getting sick with COVID, and I was out for a month. So, but up until that point, so guys, like. It was no coincidence that those are some of the best earning years of my life. Why? Because I was consistent, like a robot, just churning and churning and churning, right? When you create a habit and just follow through, it actually takes care of itself. What winds up happening is people wind up calling you back, you know, and then things just start happening for you because they're, again, that compound effect, right? So you got to build that daily habit. So I'm going to give you some pointers, guys, on how you can build that daily habit, some specific tasks that you can do starting today in order to build those tasks into your daily habits, and so that you create a habit that's going to make you money the rest of your career, right? So let me ask you this, guys. What is your daily habit, right? Let me ask you guys, like how you do it. Do you set time aside? Do you block time? Do you do it first thing in the morning? Do you do it at the end of the day? So on and so forth. Hansel, hey, Hansel, how are you, man? Nice to see you. What CRM do you use? Okay, so I use PhoneBurner. I like PhoneBurner because it has a couple things. I can set up my folders real nice and easy peasy in there, right? It's customizable, and it has a dialer built in, you know? I tell my students all the time, PhoneBurner mixed with MailChimp, ooh, you can be really dangerous. You build out a really, really sweet database, and then you have a CRM that can keep up with it. Now, here's the thing: PhoneBurner's not going to send an email to somebody on their birthday. It ain't that type of CRM. You want to do that? You want to play patty cake with somebody? For sure, right? And no offense to the patty cake players, but that's not how business is done on the commercial side. You want to call somebody, you want a robust machine like a Sherman tank. That's PhoneBurner. You can organize your stuff, you throw in a set of headphones, and you bang out your 50 dials and you make a lot of money. Straight up, that's how it's done. And it's very, very simplistic. It's not super fancy. You set up your folders a certain way. We go into the program, and that's really what you need. You don't need to get too fancy with that. Brian says, I just started my morning routine, 9 to 11 a.m. Yes, I love that. Love that. Awesome. Good stuff, guys. So let me give you some pointers on how you can set up that part of the process, right? So number one, guys, okay, and Brian just kind of teased it. Thanks for teeing that up for me, Brian. Appreciate it, buddy. So what you're doing is you're going to time block. Time block means you create a block in your calendar, just like it sounds, of X amount of time, and the only thing you do is one task, one intention. That's it. If the building is burning down around you, let it burn. Stop, drop, and roll. I don't want to hear anything else that's going on. If you are prospecting or you are following up, though those two are happen in the same time block, okay? Nothing is more important, okay? Nothing is more important than the prospecting. Why? Can anybody tell me, okay, of my students or anybody that's been through the course before, can anybody tell me why prospecting is so important? First one that to give me an answer gets a gold star, and I'll throw something fun your way. Let me know. Tell me, guys, why do you think prospecting is so important? It should be very, very obvious, and it should be on the tip of your tongue. Is the top of the funnel of the business? Rosa with the gold star. Yes, absolutely, guys. If you don't put anything in the top of the funnel, guess what? Nothing comes out the bottom. It's very, very simple, guys. So you have to make sure that you're every single day putting something in the top of the funnel. You don't take care of the top of the funnel, the bottom of the funnel, nothing's going to come out. So you need to be minding that. Okay. So Michael Kalani says it feeds everything 100%. Terrence says it's your pipeline. Exactly, guys. Now you're talking, right? So time blocking is super duper important because it'll set time aside so that you can do the prospecting that you need to, because like Michael says, it feeds everything. Okay. You want the quickest way to tank your business? Stop prospecting. You want the fastest way to blow up your business in a good way? Start prospecting and do it with intention. Do it to the right people with the right message. Watch out, guys. I tripled my business in 24 months by reaching out to the right people with the right message. And I did it very consistently, and I did it daily. Period. End of story. Monday through Friday, 90 minutes a day. And before you know it, I was making more money than I could possibly have imagined 24 months before. All right, guys, true story. It's the best thing I could do. I mean, the best thing I could recommend to anybody out there. Okay. So here's the other thing you can do, guys. You can, in terms of action items, number one, create a time block. I recommend from 8 to 10 every day. Get it out of the way before that phone starts ringing, before people start bothering you, before the emails start coming in, so on and so forth, right? Very, very important, guys. Step two, find a buddy, okay? Get an accountability partner. What I recommend doing, guys, have any of you ever like passed by a factory and they're like 264 days without an accident, right? You know, that's what I want you to do with somebody. I want you to hold each other accountable so that somebody, so that like you don't want to let the other person down and they don't want to let you down. So you want to make sure you get a streak going. Let's see how many days, like find a friend of yours that's in the business and says, you know what, this is what I want to do. But by all means, cross-pollinate inside the group. We have 2,300 people in the public group, right? We have another 60 or 70 in the private group. Guys, cross-pollinate, find an accountability partner, find someone that seems nice or seems cool or seems to be hardworking. I always try to work with people that are like, seem to be the rock stars. Go work with a rock star. Guess what? It'll rub off on you. Okay. So find the people that are kicking ass and go work with them, because I guarantee you that's going to rub off on you and it's going to positively affect your business. You with me? So find a buddy, find an accountability partner, and make sure you get accountability going, because without accountability, we're human, guys. We all fall off. Okay. Now from there, tell everybody. Okay. Tell everybody. Tell your mama. Tell your daddy. Tell your cousins. Tell your friends. Tell your wife. Tell your boyfriend. Tell whoever will listen. Tell them I'm on this prospecting challenge. I'm on this follow-up challenge. I'm trying to blow my business up, because I want you to tell everybody. Because you know why? If you do fall off and then you see someone like that at the grocery store 2 weeks later, hey, by the way, how's business going? How's that thing you're doing? I want you to feel shameful that you weren't doing it. Or I want you to be able to brag and say, you know what? I started doing this thing. It's the best thing I've ever done. And on top of that, my business has gone through the roof. Thanks for asking. Make a public announcement of what you're planning on doing. I'm trying to prospect 30 days in a row. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to let everybody know, because what will happen is you'll either get feedback and where people are like, oh, how's that going? Oh, wow. Glad to hear it. Proud of you, whatever, very, very important. I'm in the middle of this thing. I'm actually finishing it up. It's called a 75 hard, right? Where you work out, you do 2 workouts a day, no alcohol, read 10 pages in a book, no cheat meals, yada, yada, yada. Right. And I told everybody that would listen, right? Why? Because I wanted to make myself accountable. I wanted to hold myself accountable. And it's the best thing I've ever done is tell other people, and then they're going to ask you and you're going to have to answer, and you're not going to want to feel like an idiot because you didn't carry through on your word. The only thing we have in this world, guys, is our word, or one of the most important things I should say is your word. So make sure when something comes out of your mouth, you mean it, because people in business will recognize that and do business with you because they know if it comes out of your mouth, it's going to happen. Very, very important. And the way that you create these habits is one step at a time, one action at a time. If it comes out of your mouth, you had better do it, because you don't want to be known as the person that doesn't follow through and doesn't do the things that they say, right? So let's see. The other thing I was going to say, guys, this is very, very important. Okay, so time block. Get an accountability partner. Tell everybody that you're going on a follow-up and prospecting challenge, and you're going to do it every single day for the next 30 days, okay? Reach out to all your previous clients. The lowest hanging fruit, the easiest people to talk to are the people that already know, like, and trust you. You already got them into their home. You already got them into a building. You already leased them a space. You already did this. You already did that. Whoever that is, reach out to your previous clients. They're not going to hang up the phone on you, right? You know, if they're a previous client, means you did something good for them, right? So make sure you reach out to them. Super duper important, guys.